Hello and welcome to the inaugural EV Country video. My name is Jeremiah and I'm here to answer some questions that you may or may not have had about electric vehicles. Whether or not you're in the market for a new car or you're looking to switch from your gas-powered or hybrid car to an electric car, I'm here to answer questions like, what's it like to live in a rural setting? We live in southwestern Wisconsin, go Badgers, and own an electric car. It's not as difficult as you might think, and I think that our car, which is a 2017 Tesla Model S 75D, is a good illustration of how it's actually pretty manageable depending on where you live and depending on the type of dwelling you have, whether or not an EV makes sense for you. Now, I will say from the top that for some of you, an electric car is not the way to go. If you live way out in the boonies in Montana or Wyoming or Colorado or anywhere where it gets really rural and there's nowhere to charge, you might have trouble getting to the next place you need to go to charge. So another thing I'll say, my videos are not about road trips in electric cars. If you go on YouTube and look for Out of Spec Motoring, he does a lot of EV road trips, awesome videos, great information. That's not what this channel is about. So I am here to answer questions that I don't see answered on YouTube about owning an electric car when you live in a rural setting. So here in southwestern Wisconsin, we have about 6,000 people in town. And if you go on PlugShare, which is a great app, and you plug in this location, you're not going to find much for charging. There is maybe 2 places in town, and there used to be a couple more, but regardless, the way that we charge now is 95, 96, 7% at home. It's mostly done at home. If you don't live in a house, for example, if you live in an apartment, or if you live in a house that you don't necessarily have control over. For example, if you're not allowed to put in an outlet that you could use to charge your car, which I'll show you ours in a minute, this video might not be for you because I don't have experience with that, so I can't really talk to you about what that's like. But if you live in a house, if you live in an apartment where they will put in charging for you, or where you're allowed to put in charging outlets, maybe I can help you answer some questions about how difficult is it to live with an EV if you live in the country. So, like I said, we have a 2017 Tesla Model S. The full range of our car when we first got it was 259 miles. Currently now, after 4 years and 72,000 miles, with some battery degradation, our car gets 241 miles on a full charge. Now I know it's just a guesstimate. It depends on how you drive. I would guess real world, based on the way that I drive, it's probably closer to 230 miles on a full charge, maybe 220 for the way my wife drives. But regardless, 95+% of our charging is done at home. So let me show you what we have here at home. This is a NEMA 1450 outlet. I'm not sure what the 14 stands for, but 50 stands for the 50 amp breaker we have in the basement. That's what the female end of it looks like. This is what the male end looks like. You sometimes hear this called a dryer outlet, although it's not entirely accurate, but that's perfectly fine. For our particular car, you'll see a light that comes on once you plug in the cord there. You saw it flash to red, and then it checks things out, makes sure it's okay, goes to green, says you're good to go to charge. So this end goes into the car, and we pull on this 50 amp breaker. Our car will charge at a maximum of 40 amps here sitting in our garage. Currently, we do not have access to our garage because it's full of junk. You can see back there. But yeah, we plug in every day when we're done driving, and we're good to go. We set the car to charge to 90%, and we're good to go for our daily driving. There are times where we need more range, And hopefully in future videos I can show you what we do for that sort of a setting where we need to sort of plan our trip accordingly. And then when we go to family's house, it might be a situation where we're always charging. And those are things I hope to show in future videos. But for now, what I can tell you is that we live, like I said, we have a Tesla, and we live about 65 miles from the nearest supercharger. So if you're going on a road trip and you have a car like a Chevy Bolt or a Kona EV or even the Ford Mustang Mach-E, there's the Volkswagen ID.4, all of these have enough range to get yourself to a DC fast charger if you're going on a road trip. But if you're in a rural area like I am, and the problem is when you need to go out into the boonies a little farther and you might not have enough charge to get home. That's kind of the questions that I would like to try to answer with these videos, and I think that with our 241 miles at full battery, I think we're kind of representative of what the most usable cars are out on the market today. And we'll talk about those. These videos are not about Tesla. It's just what we have. I'm not a Tesla fanboy, nor am I a hater. I don't hate any of the other cars. In my opinion, electric cars are mostly better than gas cars, and they're not quite there yet. There are some problems like entry point, price points for entry that can kind of hang people up sometimes. But in short, these videos are for people who live in the country, who are considering buying an EV, and don't know if the charging infrastructure is well developed enough for them to be able to sustain life with an EV. If that's a concern of yours, you're in my target audience. And the last thing I'll say is that it's actually, if you have a car with 250-ish miles of range, you might think that's not enough. And in some cases it's not. I'm not going to lie to you. We've had times in our Tesla where we wish we would have gotten a bigger battery when we bought ours, but we have what we have. We're not getting rid of it. So I just want to show you guys what life is like with an EV when you have about 250 miles of range. And in the next in the next few weeks or so, I'll be uploading some more videos about driving to rural areas, other rural areas that will involve a lot of charging at family's house, which thankfully the dynamic in my family is good to where people don't mind if we charge. And we'll talk about the different levels of charging as we go, but I should mention also that in our garage we charge at about 30 miles of range an hour. That's with the NEMA 1450 over there, but we can also so that we can also plug into an outlet like this. That will give us about 4 miles of range an hour, which is unfortunately what we will have to charge on at certain families' house. As we go, we'll kind of get into the nitty-gritty, and we'll see what it's like, to have to plug into a 3-prong 120-volt outlet overnight at somebody's house, and we'll kind of show you what that's like. And hopefully along the way I can persuade you that even now, as EVs are kind of in their infancy, it's a manageable thing. It's definitely a lifestyle change. It takes some getting used to. You have to plan a little bit more, but it's really, honestly, it's not so bad. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.